Ohio. The United Arab Emirates, the federal state in the Middle East consisting of 7 emirates, each of which represents the state absolute monarchy. Abu Dhabi, Ajman, Dubai, Ras Al Khaimah, Al Khaimah, Fideri and Sharjah. Some of the listed emirates get under definition of the dwarfish state. The state is headed by the President of the United Arab Emirates, which the Emir of the largest emirate of Abu Dhabi is. The capital of the United Arab Emirates is also the capital of this emirate of the same name. Such key role of the Emirate of Abu Dhabi, the largest and the richest of emirates, is in many respects connected with the fact that the administrative device of the UAE leans on the right of each emirate to dispose of reserves of hydrocarbons in the territory. Thus, actually, according to reserves of oil, influence of these are those emirates in definition of the general policy of the country is distributed. For example, the Emir of Dubai is the head of the government of the UAE. The state of UAE is located in the southwest part of Asia, east part of Arabian Peninsula. Borders on Saudi Arabia in the west and the south, on Oman in the southeast and in the northeast. An Omani semi-enclave governorship Muzandam and his full enclave, the Vilayet of Musandam Matka. It is washed by waters of the Persian and Omani Gulfs. The population of the UAE for 2020, 10,207,863 people, the vast majority of which, up to 70%, workers from Southern and Southeast Asia. The indigenous people is generally presented by Sunni Muslims. There are large reserves of oil which export made a considerable part of TDD. 56.4% in 1980, 41.1% in 1995. And thanks to diversification of economy, the share of the oil and gas industry in DDD by 2009-2013 remained lower than 40%. In the 7th century, the small sheikhs which were located along the southern coast of the Persian Gulf and the northwest coast of the Gulf of Oman were a part of the Arab Caliphate which extended Islam among locals. During this period there were cities of Dubai, Sharjah, Fideri. In process of weakening of the Caliphate of a sheikhs received the increasing autonomy. In the 10th-11th centuries, east part of Arabian Peninsula was a part of the state of Karmat, and after his disintegration got under influence of Oman. At the end of the 15th century in the region there was the European influence. Portugal managed to be fixed by the first of the Western powers on the peninsula, having established control over Bahrain and Julfa and also over the Strait of Hormuz. Since the 18th century, the population of coastal Arab principalities, which was engaged mainly in trade, is involved in fight against Great Britain, which ships monopolized cargo transportation between ports of the Persian Gulf and deprived of inhabitants of the main livelihood. It led to the continuous conflicts between the East Indian Company and the local Arab population, which British called pirates, and the area of principalities, the Piracy Coast. East India Company constantly sent military expeditions to the Persian Gulf, and in 1824 stammers and chiefs of 7 Arab principalities to sign the General Contract, which laid the foundation for the English domination in this territory and to the final partition of Oman on 3 cards to Oman, a sultanate Muscat and Piracy Coast. Since 1853 these principalities generally were called Contractual Oman.
In the territory of principalities, the English military bases were created. The political power was carried out by the English political agent. Nevertheless, establishment of the English protectorate didn't lead to destruction of a patriarchal system, traditional for the region. Locals continued to stick to ancient traditions. They couldn't show serious resistance to colonialists, owing to the small number and continuous civil strifes between various tribes.
The dominating tribe in these territories was and is the tribe Bani Yas, which initially inhabited fertile oases Leva and Labama.
In 1833, one of Nis of Bani Yas, the Sot Maktamov, migrated from oases and was proved in Dubai, having declared independence of the city. The dynasty Maktoum, which rules the Emirate of Dubai to this day, was so based. In the early 20s in contractual Oman, the fight for independence, which reached special scope in Sharjah and Ras Al Khaimah, was started.
In the same time, there was a critical event in the history of the Emirates and all Middle East. In the Persian Gulf, the richest reserves of oil were open.
In 1922, British established control of the right of sheikhs to provide concessions on oil exploration and production. However, in contractual Oman, oil production wasn't conducted, and the main income to principalities was brought by trade in pearls. From the beginning of oil production in the 1950s to the region, inflow of foreign investments began. Income from trade in oil allowed to raise the standard of living of local population significantly. But principalities remained under the British protectorate, which in 1964 the League of Arab States, declaring the right of the Arab people for full independence, opposed. In 1968, after publication of the decision of the government of Great Britain on intention to disengage until the end of 1971, the British troops from the areas located to the east of the Suez Canal, including from the states of the Persian Gulf, principalities, signed the agreement on formation of Federation of the Arab Principalities of the Persian Gulf. This federation had to include Bahrain and Qatar, but later they formed the independent states. On December 2, 1971, 6 of 7 Emirates of contractual Oman declared creation of federation under the name the United Arab Emirates. The 7th Emirate, Ras Al Khaimah, joined it on February 10, 1972. Granting of independence coincided with the sharp jump in prices of oil and oil products caused by tough power policy of Saudi Arabia that facilitated to the new state independent steps to the fields of economy and foreign policy. Thanks to oil revenues and skillful investment of capital in development of the industry, agriculture, to formation of numerous free economic zones, Emirates in the shortest terms could reach relative economic well-being. Considerable development was gained by spheres of tourism and finance. In 1990-1991, troops of the United Arab Emirates took part in liberation of Kuwait from the Iraqi expansion of Saddam Hussein. The United Arab Emirates occupy the territory in a northeast part of Arabian Peninsula washed by the Persian Gulf. On the land, United Arab Emirates border on Saudi Arabia in the south and the west, and on Oman in the east. The northern coast is opposite to Iran through the Persian Gulf, while Qatar in only 50 came to the northwest. Together these Emirates occupy the territory approximately of the same sizes as Portugal. 85% of the area of all United Arab Emirates are the share of the Emirate of Abu Dhabi. And the smallest of Emirates, Ajman, only 250 km. The most part of the territory of the United Arab Emirates is occupied by the desert. Rubla Bamakali. One of the biggest areas in the world covered with sand. In the coastal areas of the United Arab Emirates there are fields of salt. The mountainous terrain is characteristic of northern and east regions of the country. Representatives of fauna, the Arabian leopard and returned in the nature Arabian, it is possible to see single-humped camels and wild goats more often.
During spring and autumn migrations of the birds who are flying by from Central Asia and East Africa, it is possible to observe their big congestions in the north of the country. Outside mountainous areas in the Emirates of Fidiri and Ras Al Khaimah, the most part of vegetation, result of the program of the government on gardening of the country.
Even groves of date palm trees in Barami Oasis, on eastern frontier of the country, were delivered from municipal parks. Climate of the country very hot and dry. Tropical desert. Often there are sandstorms. The average maximum in a shadow in summer months about 40-45 C, but often reaches 50 C. Temperature in the winter. In the afternoon of 20-23 C is colder at night, but frosts the phenomenon exclusively rare. Rainfall is irregular, mainly from November to May, annual norm about 100 mm. Despite desert climate adverse for flora, in Dubai the biggest park of flowers in the world is open. According to the World Factbook, the population of the UAE as of July 2021 was 9,856,612 people. By estimates of the Union, the total number of the population of the country on the middle of 2019 was card people.
Immigrants make 87.9% of the total number of the population of the country.
By assessment for 2015, 11.6% of the population of the UAE are made by Emirates, the Southern Asians -59.4%. Including 38.2% of Hindus, 9.5% of Bangladeshis, 9.4% of Pakistanis, 2.3% citizens of other countries of the Southern Asia. Egyptians -10.2%, Filipinos -6.1%, citizens of other countries -12.8%. Official language: Arab, English, Hindi, Malayalam, Urdu, Pashto, Tagalog, Prasidki are widespread. Urban population -87.3%. 2021. The population is substantially concentrated in the northeast of the peninsula of Musandam. Nearly 85% of the population live in three largest Emirates, Abu Dhabi, Dubai and Sharjah. Total coefficient of birth rate for 2021, 1.65 births on the woman. Literacy -93.8%. Men -93.1%, women -95.8%. 2015. About 14.45% of the population the age group up to 15 years makes 83.65% from 15 to 65 years, 9% are more senior than 65 years. In 2021 the birth rate was estimated at 10.87 for 1,000 the population, mortality -1.51 on 1,000 immigration. 3.18 on 1,000, increase in population was 0.62%. Infantile mortality -5.25 on 1,000 newborns. The expected life expectancy of the population as of 2021, 79.37 years, at men is 78.04 years, and at women -80.78 years. Average age of the population as of 2020, 38.4 years. Men -40. 4 years, women -31.5 years. 85% living in the country aren't citizens of the UAE. Arab immigrants are presented generally by Arabs from other Arab countries with the low standard of living. Yemen, Iraq, Egypt, Sudan. There are natives of the countries of East and Central Africa, mainly from Somalia, Ethiopia, Tanzania and Eritrea. 88% of the population of the Emirates are concentrated in the cities. The largest and most dynamically developing city, Dubai, with the population more than 2.5 million people. Other large cities: Abu Dhabi, capital; Sharjah, Labama, Ain and Fideri. Practically all citizens of the UAE are Muslims, from which 85% Sunnites and 15% Shiites. According to Migration Services of the Emirates, about 55% of immigrants, also Muslims, 25% Hindus, 10% Christians, 5% Buddhists. 2 other 5% minorities of Sikhs and Abakha belong. According to a research of the Ministry of Planning, from only 4.1 million people living in the UAE, taking into account foreigners, 3/4 Muslims. Dubai, the only emirate where there is a gurdwara and churches are in each emirate. In 2011, the Orthodox Temple Complex, the first in the history of Christianity, in the territory of Arab Emirates, St. Philip the Apostle in Sharjah, was built. Arab, official language of the UAE. In the country, English, Hindi, Urdu, Farsi and is also used. Because of big inflow of Russian-speaking tourists in Dubai, a huge number of signs and announcements in Russian appeared. Also in the tourist centers, hotels and shops, many speak Russian. 90% of labor of the country are made by immigrants of India, Pakistan and Bangladesh. Political stability, modern infrastructure and economically favorable situation in the country attract both highly skilled migrants and low-skilled. For maintenance of economic growth and the high standard of living in the country, in 1971 the government of the UAE entered the temporary program for visitors of workers, which was called the Sponsors Kafala system. Further, the Kafala, which allows foreign citizens and the companies to employ migrants for work. The state system of the United Arab Emirates represents a unique combination of a republican and monarchist system. The UAE, the federal monarchic state consisting of 7 emirates, absolute monarchies. This state is headed by the Emir of Abu Dhabi, the government the Emir of Dubai. The Supreme Council of the Union takes the taking priority place in hierarchy of state system of the UAE. Council consists of heads of all 7 emirates. Council defines the general policy of the state, and the Council of Ministers answers to the Supreme Council for carrying out this policy. Besides definition of foreign and domestic policy, the Supreme Council has the right to revise the principle of state system of the country. Council also approves the candidate to the post of the Chairman of the Board of Ministers. The Congress of Council takes place at the beginning of October every year. At the same time, Council has to hold during the session plenary sessions each 2 months. Also, the chairman has the right to convoke council on an emergency meeting in case of need or upon the demand of members of council.
Adoption of any decision requires presence at a Congress of at least 5 dicks, among which there have to be representatives of the Emirates of Abu Dhabi and Dubai.
Meetings of council have, as a rule, the closed character. The post of the President of the United Arab Emirates is combined with a post of the Emir of the Capital Emirate of Abu Dhabi. As the Emirate is absolute monarchy, the power in it and consequently and in all state it is descended. Till 1966 in Abu Dhabi, as well as in the neighboring Saudi Arabia, it was accepted to delegate the power from the brother to the brother. The President of the UAE is the Supreme Commander Armed Forces, the Chairman of the Supreme Council of Defense. The head of state signs the decrees and resolutions confirmed with the Supreme Council, the regulations adopted by Council of Ministers. Besides, the President appoints dicks of diplomatic corps, the higher-ranking civil and military officials, announces amnesty or confirms death sentences. There is the Vice President's post. The Vice President is appointed by the Supreme Council of the Union to 5-year term. Since November 3, 2004, the post of the President of the UAE is held by the Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed of Al Nahyan. On November 3, 2009, the Supreme Council of the UAE prolonged powers of the Sheikh Khalifa as the President of the country for a 5-year term. The clan of Al Nahyan rules the Emirate of Abu Dhabi more than 250 years. Executive power is presented by Council of Ministers headed by the chairman appointed to a post by the President and approved by the Supreme Council.
Development of bills and the federal budget, adoption of resolutions and instructions for performance of laws and other regulations, observation of performance of judgments, ratification of international treaties and agreements, appointment and dismissal of federal officials who don't demand the special order of other supreme bodies of the state belong to powers of the government.
Now the Council of Ministers is headed by the Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. There are following ministries and institutions equated to them on the status. Ministry of Affairs of the President, Ministry of Affairs of the Supreme Council, Ministry of Affairs of Council of Ministers, Ministry of Finance and Industries, Ministry of Energy, Ministry of the Higher Education and Scientific Research, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Labor and Social Development, Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Economics and Planning, Ministry of Information and Culture, Ministry of Internal Affairs, Ministry of Communications, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Defense, Establishment on Administrative Development, Federal Customs Service, Federal Service on Electricity and Water Resources, the Federal Agency on the Environment, Exchange Service, Federal Service on a Private Property, Public Auditor Service, Federal National Council. The legislature is presented by Federal National Council, which part
representatives from each emirate whose number is enshrined in the constitution and is defined depending on population, a political and economic situation in the said emirate.
Each emirate has the right to establish own method of election of representatives in National Council. Now 40 deputies are a part of council. On 8, from Abu Dhabi and Dubai, on 6, from Ras Al Khaimah and Sharjah, and on 4, from Fideri, Al Khaimah and Ajman. The National Council isn't legislature in the true sense of the word, as doesn't possess a legislative initiative. This only included into his power to discuss laws which are offered by Council of Ministers and to make at discretion amendments and additions. Council also has the right to reject any bill.
However, in this case, the President nevertheless has the right to adopt the law after the approval by the Supreme Council of the Union.
Thus the National Council, in spite of the fact that in the Constitution it is described as legislature, upon is only consultative and advisory. The practice of purpose of all dicks events by governors of Emirates existing from 1972 to 2006 was changed, and now a half of members of ENS is elected the Electoral College, and the others are appointed governors of Emirates. Judicial authority is presented by the Supreme Allied Court, which is the Supreme Federal Court of the United Arab Emirates. It consists of the chairman and 4 independent judges. The Supreme Court governs the relations between Emirates, members of the highest union, federal and local government. The UAE, the member of the Union, League of Arab States, Non-Aligned Movement, Organization of Islamic Cooperation, etc.
From the moment of the education, the UAE were officially included into group of the non-aligned countries and acted in her from the position of an absolute neutrality, allowing them to keep equidistance from the West and the East.
In questions of Middle Eastern settlement of the UAE support a full withdrawal of Israeli troops from all occupied Arab territories. They also demand ensuring all legitimate rights of the Arab people of Palestine, including his right for creation of own state. Concerning the Irano-Iraqi war of the UAE supported Iraq, rendering it the financial and moral support, and at the same time kept economic relations with Iran. The importance is attached to participation in the Gulf Cooperation Council, GACS, in which the UAE see the effective mechanism of ensuring regional stability and cooperation.
According to data of annual rating of passport index ranging the states by the principle of visa-free access for their citizens to other countries as of December 1, 2018, the main document of the citizen of the UAE gained the maximum point and headed this rating.
Owners of the passport of the UAE can visit without visa of 167 countries, that makes 84% of number of the states participating in the index. As of December 1, 2016, the passport of the citizen of the UAE took the 27th position in the rating of passport index. Within more than 100 years, the Indian rupee was monetary unit of the Arab principalities.
In 1959, the Reserve Bank of India released for them special monetary unit, rupee of the Persian Gulf, which replaced Indian rupee.
The rupee of the Persian Gulf was equated to Indian rupee.
After devaluation in June 1966 of Indian rupee and the depreciation of rupee of the Persian Gulf, which followed her for 36.5% of the principality refused this currency.
However, in the choice of new monetary unit they didn't come to unanimity.
In June 1966, the Principality of Abu Dhabi entered Bahraini dinar, the others, Rial of Saudi Arabia. In September 1968, Riyals of Saudi Arabia were withdrawn from circulation and replaced with Riyals of Qatar and Dubai.
After formation of the UAE in 1971, the decision on introduction of uniform monetary unit, dirham D of the UAE, which was released on May 18, 1973, was made. Riyals of Qatar and Dubai were withdrawn from circulation. The basis of the economy of the UAE, re-export trade, production and export of crude oil and gas. Oil production, about 2.2 million barrels a day. The most part is made in the Emirate of Abu Dhabi. Other oil producers on importance: Dubai, Sharjah and Ras Al Khaimah. Oil provided rapid growth of economy of the UAE for only several decades, however, and other sectors of economy also developed quickly enough, especially foreign trade. The Dubai Commercial Center and its adjacent free zone of Jebel Ali attracted extensive foreign investments. The port of Rashid and Jebel Ali Port in Dubai and Fujairah are among 40 best container ports in the world. These ports mist through themselves more than 3 million container units a year. In 2013, the country was visited by more than 15 million foreign tourists. The UAE lie between production economic ways of the Far East and Europe, halfway that promotes transformation of the country into the international economic center. In the country, transport infrastructure is well developed. In particular, there are 6 international airports. In Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Sharjah, Ras Al Khaimah, Fujairah and Al Ain, construction of the largest airport, Labama Maktoum, continues. The greatest of them, Abu Dhabi and Dubai, missed through themselves more than 50 million passengers in 2010, grow as well freight volumes. In addition to the airports and seaports in the UAE, there are developed telecommunications. Significant investments invest in construction of modern buildings and the water desalting plants to satisfy the growing demand for fresh water, not only at the population, but also for needs of nearly 100 million trees which were planted for the last 25 years.
Recently, the share of income from production and oil refining in the total amount of GDP decreases. That is connected with measures of the government for diversification of economy.
At the same time, the value of other sectors of economy grows in structure of NPN, including construction, trade, tourism and agriculture.
Despite substantially fruitless and droughty relief, of which very low level of rainfall and lack of the rivers are characteristic, investments into agriculture help to construct the water desalting plants, doing this branch of economy more and more independent and profitable.
Some crops, for example, a wild strawberry, are even exported to Europe. The largest partner in trade, Japan, which takes away the greatest share of oil and gas export of the UAE and also is a large supplier of vehicles, electronics and various products for consumers.
Commodity turnover between Russia and the UAE in 2007 grew by 27%, having been about $821 million.
$771 million, the Russian export, and $50 million, the Emirates export. In 2008, commodity turnover was $846.4 million, and in 2009, $670.6 million. In September 2010, under the auspices of Chamber of Commerce and Industry of the Emirate of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, the Russian Council of Businessmen was registered. Business transactions in the UAE are influenced by climate and religion. They reflect a long story of merchants. Centuries of trade, exchange and sale of money form today the strong base for the international business, which is done by descendants of ancient merchant families. There are 2 types of the big companies. The big, rich and influential companies which arose for the last 15 years, on the one hand both big and old trade associations, whose owners are proud of the rich history. Many government officials also operate business, as well as dicks of the royal families. It is perceived quite normally, not as in Europe or in North America. Accumulation of wealth is connected with achievements and is considered a sign of success. It is accepted to speak about profits openly, and the prices are fixed, depending on requirements of the market, but not from profit size. Traditions of Islamic culture have a great influence on business.
There is some rituality and a certain order which is defined by traditions of breeding devotion, honor and hospitality.
Many traditions of the Western world seem as threat for the core Islamic family values. The Western clothes have to correspond to climate and conservative Islamic morals, and it is considered that foreigners arrive very impolitely if they wear a local traditional dress code. Some businessmen from the UAE can put on light suits business meetings. At most offices, trousers and a shirt with short sleeves and a tie are acceptable for men. Also, light suits and jackets in sport style are allowed. Always put on a shirt with long sleeves business meetings and official actions. At the same time, the tie is an obligatory attribute. For businesswomen, conservative light suits or free dresses are offered. At the same time, their length has to be below a knee. They shouldn't be with a low cut. Sleeves have to close the top part of hands. Certain Western rules of conduct are forbidden by strict Muslim morals, but for foreigners there are some exceptions. Generally, business is done in the honest way, frauds are rather effectively stopped, and the unfair behavior is condemned by business community. The working day in the Emirates is traditionally divided into two parts. From 8 o'clock till 14 o'clock, and then from 17 o'clock till 20 o'clock. Some more modern companies work the whole day, from 8 o'clock till 16 o'clock. Anyway, the working day begins early. Friday is a sacred day. Besides, under the law it is the only day off, though some firms are closed on Thursday after a lunch. Generally, working week lasts Saturday through Thursday. Recently, the schedule of working hours in the large companies was displaced towards Europe.
Offices work from 9 o'clock till 18.
Double O with a 1-hour break for lunch. The days off, Friday and Saturday.
Government agencies are usually open from 7 o'clock, either 8 o'clock till 13 o'clock or 14 o'clock.
Saturday through Wednesday. And from 7 o'clock, either 8 o'clock till 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock on Thursday. Generally, working day lasts from 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock till 13 o'clock, and from 16 o'clock till 19 o'clock or till 19:30. Saturday through Wednesday. On Thursday, the working day lasts from 7 o'clock, either 8 o'clock till 11. Double O or 12 o'clock. Banks work usually from 8 o'clock till 13 o'clock. Saturday through Wednesday. And from 8 o'clock till 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock on Thursday. During Ramadan, government agencies and most shops are closed earlier. Nevertheless, many shops are open till late evening. It is expected that not Muslims won't eat or drink in public places. Though some restaurants remain open for foreigners, it is possible to find out that most restaurants is closed during the day. The authorities of the United Arab Emirates, UAE, decided to remit to citizens of the country debts almost for $100 million. Now, a main type of transport are cars. The majority of roads is asphalted here. The international airports, ports work in the country. On September 9, 2009, the first line of the subway in Dubai is open. In 2015, 2 branches of the subway and 47 stations already work. The tram system was open on November 11, 2014 in the area of Dubai Marina. The tram line is connected to the subway in 2 stations.
Also there is Jumeirah monorails, the monorail car bringing passengers from the tram to Atlantis Hotel through the island Palma Jumeirah.
From public transport there is also bus traffic, but it is developed poorly. The vast majority of citizens uses personal cars or the taxi. There are 11 main bus routes connecting Dubai with other parts of the country. Sharjah, Ajman, Al Khaimah, Ras Al Khaimah, Fujairah and Abu Dhabi. The railroads are operated by the state company Etihad Rail. The UAE, the Muslim country. Here it isn't accepted to be on the street in a state of intoxication. For it is possible to get to prison. Or provocatively dressed. Especially concerns women. But in recent years, because of a large number of tourists of a frame of decency move towards the European traditions. Among local population, education began to be appreciated in recent years. Thanks to it, in the UAE, world-class good higher educational institutions are created. Scientific training centers of the largest technically advanced companies of the world opened. Since 2007, the Middle Eastern International Film Festival is held to Abu Dhabi. Holidays. November 15, New Year.
November 5, Eid al-Adha.
Muharram 1, Muslim New Year. Muharram 10, Ashur. Rabi al-Awwal 12, birthday of the Prophet. August 7, accession to the throne of the Sheikh Zayd ibn Sultan of Nahyan. Radhab 17, rise of Muhammad. December 2, National Day. Shawwal 1, Eid al-Fitr. The cuisine of the UAE is almost completely borrowed Lebanon. The most widespread dishes. Labama Harris. The mutton baked with wheat seeds. Kebab, labama. Stewed mutton with rice, tomatoes and potatoes. Shawarma, hummus, the peas chickpea ground in paste with tahini. Sesame paste. Eggplant caviar with sesame paste. Tudi tabbouleh. Salad from bulgur and millet. From sweets, cottage cheesecake with cream and asaraya, and products from dates and other dried fruits with nuts is very popular.
The shortage of own delicacies in the UAE with interest is compensated by a huge number of foreign restaurants and fast food, from the Italian trattoria to the Japanese sushi bars.
In the UAE, the legislation regulating work of the internet in the country works. In 2007, the federal law according to which treat punishable actions was entered. Hacking. Insult of shrines and religious practices. White minds Islam. Violation of family values and bases. Creation of the website for the group of persons advancing programs which encroach on a public order and decency.
Creation of the website of the bringing to publicity of information on the order of terrorist group under assumed names for simplification of interaction with their management or promotion of own ideology and financing of the activity, or publication of data on how to do bombs and other explosives for terrorist attacks. As of 2011, the telecommunication centers, media city and internet city, and also the new information zone in Abu Dhabi, designed to involve the Arab experts in the field of cinema, radio and television, and to support the creators of information resources and materials coming from the Arab countries work in the country.
Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.